back for another episode of Get a Load of This from the Silver Creek Studios. I'm Jarod.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm getting my prostate checked right now.
Wow.
Hold on. Let me get this glove off.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
And I'm Joe.
yeah. So if you're
And I'm miserably stimulated.
if this sounds disjointed, it's because we forgot to record an intro at the beginning of this episode that you're about to hear. So we're going to kick it off, but we recorded this.
It's okay. Usually our outtakes we record at the beginning and then we put them at the end and it all sounds fucked up. So
yeah, we got to go clean
good.
Joe up and but enjoy this episode.
I
It's
got to
coming
get
at you.
the shit off of Jared's finger
Coming at you live.
and most of the seat.
All right, let's do this.
Well,
It's that everything you go to, whether it's Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, it's fucking just crammed down your throat. And there's kids.
So now I believe that in this last election that we just had in 2016, I think Trump went after yet another untapped resource. He went after the
blue collar,
uneducated, meaning
not easy there.
when I say that,
Easy.
I mean he went after the blue collar, uneducated, meaning not a college degree,
Okay.
worker,
Yeah.
and went after them, and that was a huge fucking swath of people.
Yeah, sure.
And
Yeah.
and now that's going to be what they all go back after again. And
Well, if they're
because
smart.
he went, if they're smart,
If they're smart, yeah.
and that, well, case in point, the last 10 days prior to election, Hillary Clinton
Didn't go to Wisconsin. Didn't go to
sat on her ass.
yeah. Didn't go.
So what did Trump do? He went to Wisconsin. He went to the Upper Peninsula.
Yeah. Yeah.
He went to all of these blue collar.
Yeah.
Middle
Middle of nowhere, but they all count. All those votes count.
Every one of them votes count.
Yeah.
And he went at he spent time in Florida with Florida voters that are of that. They're just fucking tank top wearing fucking regular people.
It was also the perfect storm for Trump. If he was running against most other Democrats, he'd have never won. Hillary was such a hated person. She was such a
criminal.
divisive, vile person.
And then
in
with
most
Russia,
people's worlds. Yeah, you talking about Trump and Russia?
Yeah,
See,
and then with Trump and Russia,
it remains to be seen. But
and
honestly,
Facebook Mark Zuckerberg fucking
she was the
rubbing
one
his hands.
Hillary was the one hanging out with Putin.
Right.
I mean, she was the one showing the button and hitting the reset, and that wasn't Putin. And it was Obama that was the one saying, "Hey, I can help you a lot more after this next election.
Right.
Just sit tight." So all this bullshit about Russia, I think they all talk to him. I think there's a lot of shit going on, a lot of conversations we don't know about, but they're all crooked as the fucking day is long. And it doesn't matter if it's Hillary, if it's Obama, if it's Al Gore, not Al Gore, what's his name, John Kerry, former Secretary of State, former candidate. That they're all shaking hands and making deals behind the fucking scenes.
It's a huge power country.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of commerce over there, a huge amount of commerce that we're not utilizing.
I'm
we're
telling
not
you
even
what,
dealing with.
And we'll record now, but I'll tell you this: that this Trump collusion Russia story, it's a non-story. I'll go on the record right now and say, and not right now, not like I'm early. There's a lot of people that have said it's a non-story before me, but it's not. And here's the reason why: if he did have conversations, if Donald Trump Jr. did have conversations, none of it's illegal. None of what they did is illegal. None of it is collusion. None of it is against the law.
I'm making a drink,
and
but I'm listening.
all of those things have been done in the past by other politicians. Maybe not with Russia. Maybe with other.
No goddamn way Taft did that.
Maybe not Taft.
Watch your mouth about my boy Taft.
But I think is Trump is he a bit of a con artist? Yeah, you betcha. Absolutely. He's running a con on everybody he's ever run across since 1975. It's another documentary I watched. It was about the Trump. Yeah.
On A&E.
No. This is on Netflix, I think.
Well, there's a 4-part series on fucking the Trump dynasty, and it goes all the way back to Grandpa.
Oh, okay. No, this was just about Donald Trump and his rise. And it starts in the 70s and with his dad.
Daddy's Million.
Yeah, well, it starts with, his dad had this real estate empire, and but Donald Trump, when he got involved with the organization, the company, he wanted to take on Manhattan, where his dad was always in like Brooklyn and Queens. And that was all. He was kind of, in the New York real estate world, that's small potatoes. Still big money, but it's small potatoes because you're not in Manhattan. You're not in the real New York. And Trump said, no, that's where we're heading. And through bullshit and piss and vinegar, he fucking made it happen. And probably some tall tales that he told the bankers so he could get some extra funding.
Bankruptcy court.
Well, that was later. He didn't file for bankruptcy until after he tried to get too big in Atlantic City and buy fucking casinos and shit. But it's all just smoke and mirrors. But I mean, look, it is what it is. I mean, the guy, you don't have a fucking plane with your name on the side of it and not have something,
Right.
The people that say that he's that it's all, he's broke and he really doesn't have any money and it's all a lie. It's like, well, he's got something. He's got something. Now, is he a con artist? Yeah. That's a prerequisite for being a politician, is to be a fucking con artist. Every one of them. You go Taft, even Taft.
No, we will not hear of such a thing.
So you mentioned Hillary losing to Trump because she ignored the small town Midwest.
Well, she thought she had it locked up. The media told her she had it locked up.
Well, we just watched that documentary on Netflix, the 2000s.
Yeah,
and it's like 10 episodes, and each one is a different theme. But the one about Obama getting elected, and it shows the primaries and Hillary running against him and all that, and it was the exact same scenario. She ignored the Midwest, the small town areas.
She didn't think she could get beat.
The big states, the big cities, and she thought she had it locked up, and she lost it. And she did the same fucking thing.
So you got to ask yourself. So you got to ask yourself, if you psychoanalyze Hillary Clinton,
it's all in a pantsuit.
What is in her head that makes her think that those things, like, I deserve this, it's my turn?
Because the Clintons are above the law.
Well, that, and I also think that there is such an operation going on behind the scenes. They have so many people that are pulling fucking strings for them that every time they think, like, we got this, we got a guy doing this, we got a guy doing that,
above the law,
and we got the Justice Department's not going to fuck with us because we my husband put all those guys there and gals. It's insanity, and it's also insanity that people can't see it. There are still people out there that think that she is the rightful president of the United States and that she belongs there.
I'm with her.
And they want her, and they desperately want her to be there, and they cannot see the forest for the trees. They can't. I mean, look, I'm the first person to say that Donald Trump is a shyster, and I don't like everything that comes out of his mouth. The results are pretty good, as far as the economy and
I don't know. I read a thing today about the economy, and it's pretty terrifying. The recession that's on the bubble.
Well, the recession that is not here yet. That is a prediction by probably CNN or the New York Times.
Well, no, the
USA Today.
No, it was a department that watches numbers, and it's the worst since '89.
Well, there's a lot of those things that come out every day. But here's the reality.
Don't try to dismiss me, you motherfucker, with some CNN shit. Fuck you. I know what the fuck I read.
We don't know the source of it. But what I'll say is that those kinds of things come out all the time that say, well, the world's going to end.
I hope it don't. It sucks because if it goes in, I went through the last recession and work got slow.
Well, yeah.
I'm in the service industry, so to speak, and that shit sucks.
But so people that, and I'm changing the subject here kind of a little bit, but the people that write these stories, if you'd have written that same story during the Obama era, during the Clinton era, during the Bush era, either Bush era, that would have been the equivalent of rooting against the success of this nation. But today, that's completely acceptable. It's like these journalists are out there saying, "Oh, it's all going to be over." Forget about the jobs numbers. Forget about the record unemployment in the black community, the record unemployment for women. Forget about the record unemployment for Hispanics. Forget about all of that stuff. We're on the brink of something horrible. Forget about everything good that's happened for the past 3 years, and focus on this Might be because some analysis, we finally found one.
Right.
We twisted the numbers that point to a cliff that we're about to go off.
Now, there were people in the 2000s predicting the housing crisis.
Sure, nobody listened to them. Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
I don't think they were, we can't say, well, they were just attacking the presidency and whatever.
That wasn't the
that
presidency. That was private sector.
No.
I got pre-approved for so much money. It was fucking ridiculous when I bought my house.
The consumer made decisions, but those the banks were,
and they just the underwriters just let it go because it was all insured.
Well, exactly. So it's the government's fault because the banks were encouraged to give loans to lower income people that didn't normally deserve or have enough background or have enough credit to get a loan. So the banks were encouraged. That was the what was the name of the
Was that me?
act?
Is he referring to me?
Well, no.
At that point?
But I mean,
But I'm your neighbor. So.
You deserved a loan. I deserved a loan, but we were approved for a lot more than what we should have had.
I said, "Are you fucking kidding me? There's absolutely no way I would buy a house for that much money."
And
I
that's
was approved for like $400,000.
And that's because the banks were encouraged to give these loans out.
I would give that
by
back
the
to you
government
before the first payment.
And they were also encouraged to give them to low income African Americans and people that had traditionally been
I'm not African American.
People that have traditionally been living in an apartment or whatever.
Yeah.
Whenever who was the senator that he was? I think he was from Massachusetts. He was
Strom Thurmond.
No, he was a gay gentleman. Not Strom Thurmond.
Strom Thurmond.
I forget the guy's name. But he Barney Frank. It was the.
Oh yeah.
He was part of Dodd-Frank. But Barney Frank was an advocate for the
not a really positive gay name, Barney.
Yeah, the Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae mortgages, and he encouraged, and there was legislation that said we need to give loans to low income people so that they can get out of living in these apartment complexes and slums. We need to give them loans, so they did. And then what happened?
The wrong verb was giving.
We need to grant loans.
No. Even that.
Yeah,
that was the problem when you give.
But the problem is that those people were given these loans, and then nobody cared if they paid them because the legislation said, it's okay, banks, go ahead and give the loan. We got you. And now what happens? Now we have a whole bubble.
Now
the housing
Arizona
bubble
is completely bankrupt.
Well, so we have the housing bubble where everybody can build and buy a house, and then whenever they still don't have a job or they still can't afford to pay it, now all of a sudden it's foreclosed, and now you have a vacant house across the street from you. And now all of a sudden you have a surplus of homes.
We don't anymore, though.
We don't. And the market's doing very well. I don't know whose fault.
No, I mean across the house from us.
Well, right. You're right. We do have now we have a tenant. But no, I mean, the bubble was, everybody thought, well, I can pay my bill, so it's not going to impact me. Bullshit. Because if you live in a subdivision and the guy across the street or down the street can't pay because they were given a loan that they shouldn't have been given, they can't pay their mortgage.
They're gone.
That's going to impact your home value. And they say, oh, well, no, they don't look at foreclosures. Bullshit.
Sure
it eventually does.
Bullshit. You look at I cut grass on a home that was unkept.
Right.
Because I didn't want that across the street from me.
But
I don't want to see it.
It wasn't just the government encouraging these loans to be given out to poor people.
It was banks taking advantage
Steve
of consumers.
Carell
But
from The Big
they
Short.
were hiding these bad loans and wrapping them up into.
Well, yeah, it was obviously multi-layered.
There's all
right.
kinds of shit going
so there was
on
a lot
the
of
banks.
There was a lot of things going on, but the bottom line is that these homes. It all comes down to what was not the root cause, but a key cog in the in the meltdown of the economy then was the housing market, and that people couldn't pay their bills, had to leave their homes, property values went down, and banks were foreclosing left and right, and it was
pay my bills.
It's and it all goes back to legislation put in place. I think it was during the late 90s. It may have been Clinton. Maybe it was early Bush era, where they said, no, we need to give loans to these people. And in my opinion, in this man's humble opinion, that's where it stems from.
Well,
people who can't
but it wasn't
afford it.
supposed to be give loans to people who can't afford it. It was supposed to be give loans to people who can't get approved because maybe they
can't
have
afford
bad credit or they had an incident or whatever.
Sure.
But like if they could just get the loan, they could pay for it, right?
If
They could
I
make
just
that
got
payment
this loan to get my
if they just didn't have to put 20% down.
Well, there's a reason
right?
why there's a credit report.
Right.
Because
I
it shows a
understand.
history of being able to pay your bills. And if your credit rating is shit,
Right.
that means that you have a bad history of paying your bills.
But
so you shouldn't
there are
be
people like, look, when we got our first mortgage,
I'm not paying for this house.
We had a very short credit history. We didn't put 20% down. We didn't have 20% to put down.
No.
Right. But guess what? We've made every mortgage payment since for the last 20 years
But
or
you
whatever.
you had a credit card or you had other credit.
Right, but in the old system, we never would have got a loan. Like, we didn't have 20% to put down.
No.
We had to get a special federal, FHA loan because we didn't have that much to put down.
My dad put a shit ton down when he bought the house I grew up in,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, that's
We
how
were-
it used to be. You
we
used to
were-
put a fucking
yeah,
shit
you
used to
ton
have
to
a nest
down.
have
egg.
to.
Used to have a
But
nest egg,
houses didn't cost $250,000 back
Right.
then either. You didn't have to put down
Well, they
25
did, but they
grand
weren't
or
around
50
here.
grand to get a house. I mean, used to be we okay, I won't say never, but it would have been difficult for us to save up 20% to put down on a house.
It'd have been hard.
And we didn't have, like I said, our first house, we didn't have 10 years of credit history. We were
Or
only
a
married a
bathroom.
few years,
Mhm.
right? So we're the type of people who that program was supposed to be for. People who can afford it, but would have had a hard time getting approved in the old system. It wasn't supposed to go to poor people who couldn't afford the very first payment.
Can't afford
And-
payment on the house.
also-
And you're right.
Also, that the banks were predatory, and that they were
Right.
Jarod walks in with his wife, and you got a baby, and you want to get a house, and they say, okay, you make this, we can give you a loan for what they should have said was $200,000, let's say. Right?
Get out of here.
What they were saying was, we'll give you, like Joe said, $400,000. We'll give you a $400,000 loan.
That was
Um,
ridiculous. I remember that phone call. It was hilarious.
Yeah, and so but there were people,
Sure.
people that the
For
house
sure.
across the street from me, that was foreclosed, and
The Huffendicks.
right, I guess we could say that. How many Huffendicks are there in the world? Right,
Come find me.
Right.
Huffendick.
yeah, their last name was Huffendick.
Huffendick.
So, but they took every
She
nickel
was
the
a
bank
witch.
offered.
She was a witch.
a Wiccan. Yeah,
Oh, nice.
technically, yeah.
I don't know what a Wiccan is, but she
That's
was
a
a
witch.
witch.
Basically a
She
witch.
used to live on the top of a house.
She was stealing my Wi-Fi
Yeah,
one night.
she would come out on her roof with her computer at night.
Didn't have Wi-Fi. Had a
She had
computer.
like a broom?
No Wi-Fi.
And I never seen a broom.
No.
But
You did see something that she wrote on though. Whenever you took the package over to her house and her husband came out with
with a fucking stiffy. So that's when I met the motherfucker.
That's a good story.
Huffendick.
Yeah, Joe,
So we go over, and yeah, your house was still ground. I mean,
it was still being built or something.
I
like,
wasn't
yeah.
even being built. I
Yeah.
don't even think they broke ground yet. Walk over, fucking to the Huffendick residence across the street from me.
Huffendick. I mean,
You
That's-
thought someone would have
yeah.
changed that at some
Two
point.
strikes, man. That's Johnson.
we're going to have to bleep that out.
Johnson. No. Huffendick.
He's going to keep saying
At
it's
any
great
rate,
more work
yeah,
for you.
you're gonna. So, any rate, we go over and meet the Huffendicks, and she seemed nice, weird, but whatever.
Right.
And I'm half-hearted in everything I do. So, I smell the popcorn, and she introduces us, and then yells into the house to Mr. Huffendick, who proceeds to walk outside in like mesh gym shorts,
Okay.
no shirt, and probably the most erect penis I've ever seen underlaid for shorts. I mean, like,
It's like, what do I
Mr.
shake?
Mr. Bergen, do you have a massive erection?
Went to shake his hand and ended
Yeah.
up jerking him off. I don't know what happened.
Came out with, I mean, it's like he was probably in watching something and was like, "Raw, fine,"
Yeah.
and pulled his
Well, I know
shorts
he didn't
up.
have Wi-Fi, so he wasn't watching porn. But that was
He
a long
pulled
time
his
ago.
short, and I mean,
How do you
That's
walk out of your house like that?
that's a dick.
So
Yes.
my first interaction with the guy, and I never met him, never said a word to him. because they got divorced and he left like 3 months after I moved in.
Well, before then, he had a 4-wheeler and he would ride it everywhere.
Yeah. That's where I'm going. Christmas morning, first year we move in. I got a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. Christmas morning, Santa came. We're having a great morning, right? We just moved into the house. We lived there for a month. We barely enough time to get a tree up. And
this guy got a tree up.
Open presents and we open presents and eat breakfast. And it's like, all right, let's get cleaned up. We're gonna go to Nana and Papa's house and we go up and get in the shower. And I hear it's fucking 9:00 on Christmas morning, and I hear wing, ding, 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 and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
He rode that motherfucker all over.
He must have got the key part for that piece of shit 4-wheeler for Christmas, and he went out and bolted that prick on.
Are you kidding me, darling? You seem to tell me you got me that old floor carver?
And he takes off, and again, there was very few houses built. He takes off into the farmer's cornfield and just goes out mudding. Christmas morning, 9 a.m., and I'm like, mother.
Mesh shorts, no shirt.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, what have we done?
So the next time I met Huffendicks, they had the older, like a early 2000s green Durango.
Oh, yeah, Durango, yeah.
And I get home from work, and where I used to work at the time, I would get off work and we'd start drinking right after work. So I would come, it was dark when I got home, and I was drunk. I pulled in and I see him working on his car.
I was drunk when I pulled in from work.
Yeah.
Yes. You heard that? You heard that
okay.
right. Yeah. Statute of limitations run out on that shit. He's good.
Out. Yeah. I think I've been forgiven by mama. But I pull in and get out of the car and I look across and he's working by streetlight and he's got this fucking Durango jacked up facing down a hill.
Mm-hmm.
So all the weight of the car is facing downhill.
Yeah.
And I walk over there and I see him. I go, hey,
you're going to die.
What are you doing? He's got this thing up on a jack and the wheels are facing downhill. No jack stands, no nothing. And he's laying underneath this car. He's laying. It's like he wants to die. And I don't know what the fuck he's doing. And he's fucking yanking on shit. And he's moving shit. And he goes, can you help me with this? Can you? I go, I'm not going to kill myself. I said, there's no way. You're fucked. I don't know what to tell you. And I said, and you're out here with no light. I said, you're working my street light.
Nice penis, by the way.
Yeah. Good work with all your penis. I don't know what to tell you.
Maybe I'll try turning that wrench with your penis.
Yeah, right. Good blood flow, I guess. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, God.
But yeah, I was like, well, that's great. And then within a month, he was gone.
Yeah.
He was just gone.
Well, so he left. I guess they were having
and she
trouble.
fucked anything that moved. She was banging all the people that are building their houses.
I heard that. Yeah, I did not. I cannot. I cannot verify that, but I heard the same stories that all the builders, all the guys that worked on the crews, basically, she brought them lemonade and vagina.
Was she hot?
No, hell,
what the hell? So these dudes are all
most
just
of the guys
banging
building houses
some
were just got out of prison.
Right?
I mean,
Yeah. So I mean, it's like olive oil at fucking port.
Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, she's. Yeah.
It was a mess. So he left because I guess they were having problems with money because she took out the max on her loan, and then I think they even took out like a home equity line, and she spent every fucking nickel on that. Bought a trampoline that blew into their house,
blew into their house and Brinkman's.
Yeah, right, yeah, yeah, and So she just was pissing away money. And I had a kid named Beelzebub or some shit like that. I mean,
weird fucking kid. Yeah. Neither of them were gingers, and this kid was a fucking ginger, man. It was like, wow.
How
the fuck did that happen?
Progressive gene there.
Oh, shit. It's that's
but
definitely...
Yeah, so he bails, and then she tells her tale of woe to everybody that would listen to her.
Yeah, anybody.
And
that's when she hooked up with Ratty Thong.
Yeah, right. Well, they start bringing Ratty Thong. So, yeah, that's a whole other story. Yeah. But everybody's like, oh, we'll help her out. So people are bringing her fucking groceries. And then she just starts expecting it. And then another month later, maybe, just gone. Just gone. And we're like, oh, I guess that's over. There's another story before she leaves, though, about that same green Durango. I'll tell you in a second. But so they left, And we're like, all right, well, I guess this house is getting foreclosed, and because there was no activity.
That was our first house that
was the first one to fall, right? And then in spring, the following spring, we're all outside because it's a beautiful day.
And their fucking
smoke alarms are going off in their house, and we're like, "What the fuck is going on?" We all hear it.
Their water line broke too.
Yeah. No one shut off the water to the house, and there was no gas. Someone shut off the gas, so there was no heat.
Drippy.
Right. So the water,
that was runny.
Yeah, it was some fucked up shit. So the house had to get gutted because they had a water pipe break on the second floor, and it destroyed the whole fucking house. It still sat like that. It was buttoned up and the water was shut off by then, but it still sat like that for a good 6-8 months, if not longer. And then the bank came in and re-outfitted it and sold it dirt fucking cheap to the people that live there still, and they're good neighbors, and I like them, but they got a deal. So goes back to how a foreclosure doesn't impact your resale value. Well, whenever those people, because they got it for a song,
drop $40,000 off the price of our homes easily.
Right. So whenever they sell their house, their bar isn't as high as my bar because they got it for a deal.
Right.
So now they're going to sell it for cheaper because they don't have as much into it. Maybe not. Maybe who knows?
No, they won't sell for cheaper. They're just going to recoup, just like.
Well, they're going to get more out of it.
A person that we both know who just sold their house down the street from us and got to reap the benefits of the prior owner.
Right. Yeah. So the green Durango, though, in her last days of living there, Huffendick, she was probably talking to Mr. Huffendick.
Come on. What the
Huffendick?
She was probably talking to him on the phone, but she was trying to back into her driveway. And she failed.
All right.
And she took out the mailbox.
Oh, God.
And just completely destroyed the side of this Durango, the passenger side of this Durango. And I'm watching the whole thing. And I see like, she's not lined up right. This is not going to go well. And all of a sudden, there goes the mailbox. And like, oh, fuck. Yeah. Stupid. I mean, just destroyed the side of this Durango, gets out, parks it, doesn't stop. I mean, just kept on going. Just parks it in the driveway, throws it in park, gets out on the phone the whole time. Doesn't even look at the mailbox. Walks in the house. I'll say this. The mailbox, to this day, I love my neighbors, still isn't fixed. That fucking thing's still crooked as hell.
Nice.
From that hit from 12 years ago or something.
And they had a Japanese maple.
The statute of limitations out on that.
I think so.
The tree's gone.
Yeah, the tree's gone.
Yeah.
So there was a Japanese maple.
It was a miniature Japanese maple. Yeah.
It was a real pretty tree.
Yeah. We got drunk.
And we wanted it. And I
said,
we could dig that
I wanted it. I wanted to plant it in my landscaping.
I said, we can get that tree out. I'll get that tree out.
I kept talking about it. Like every time we'd be out there drinking, I'm like, I really want that.
Try as I might. So we walked over there with a fucking shovel.
Yeah. Yeah. We were fit to be tied,
It was me, you, and Rich.
Yeah, you're right. Right. Yeah.
And
we went in. I mean, street lights are on. Neighbors are out. We're like, we're going to get that fucking tree.
We're going to get that tree. Anybody could have walked up and seen us.
Right.
I mean, wow, trying to loosen this tree.
Everything
and get
we could. 3 big guys and trying to get this tree on. And we dug a big hole around it, and we're trying to just cut roots and just yank. Could not get that fucking thing out of there.
There's another set of neighbors that tried to get that tree too. That I was told about after we tried.
Yeah, and they didn't get it either. Yeah, that tree was rooted, man. That thing was.
So the house was.
It was empty at that time.
Okay, you weren't just taking their tree while they were
steal their tree, though. We were going to steal their tree.
In hindsight, it was probably a bad idea, but I did want the Huffendick Japanese.
So you didn't
maple.
get it? Nobody got it?
No, I think they eventually tore everything out.
Tore it all
whenever
out.
the bank came in and they redid everything, made it look pretty or whatever.
Well, we loosened that motherfucker up for him. That was a pickle jar waiting to be opened.
Yeah.
We did that for you.
That tree
just came right out like a weed.
That tree's out there somewhere. It's somewhere, and it's growing strong and tall, man.
Yeah, they're probably going to make a tunnel through it before I die.
Tell me you did it on Arbor Day.
It was around.
It was
around Arbor Day.
It was at the WNBA trade deadline.
Yeah. No, we did some. We made some poor decisions in our early days of being neighbors, and we were the OG driveway drunks.
Oh yeah.
And now there's a new set, and now we're the grumpy old men who were like, these fucking kids.
I don't even think they'd let us in on that.
No,
and I could teach them people so much stuff.
Yeah, we know shit. Yeah, but now they do the same shit.
We should podcast from your garage one of these days.
We could do that.
Set up a table and
just listen to us yelling at traffic.
Yeah.
Talk about trees.
I'll tell you what. You might if we do it during the week. you might get me beating the living piss out of somebody because I am fucking half done
The traffic.
with these. They drive up and down like it's 270.
Yeah.
I'm done with the fucking daycare next door.
Yeah, I know that's where you're going.
And these motherfuckers driving in my lawn. I've got a rut in my lawn. They pull in and then they go up in my yard and they don't. They're fucking
so I don't
stupid.
see that, but I see the all those same people. They come down our street like it's a superhighway, man, and they're just barreling ass down. And it's like, seriously, you're coming to pick up your child that is playing in this neighborhood, and you're driving down here like it's like it's 270.
Also, I've had people walk into my house that are thinking they're going to the next door neighbor's house.
No,
They pull up and they walk into my house.
Are they half-witted or?
Well, yeah, of course they're half-witted.
Yeah.
But yeah,
but they're usually like a grandma that doesn't pick them up every day.
I'm never there. If I was there,
I was gonna say, you pull a gun on them, or
I tell them, well,
now you're gonna die.
It looks like you just met Chicken Soup. You got 3 weeks taped to a chair, Grandma.
Cluck. He keeps clucking at me. I don't know why. I just want my granddaughter.
I was talking about that the other day with my wife because she thinks that's funny, and I'm like, no, that's real.
It is hilarious.
And I said I would be down in the basement right now, like my daughter would walk down to go to her room, and be like, "Good night, victim. You're fucked." And like, just let me go. I've done nothing. I just wanted my grandkid. Why are you doing this to me? And I'll just go.
You caught him on a bad day, sir. My apologies.
And they, like, just let me go. I have a family. I wouldn't even care. I wouldn't even care. I
don't know what I'd do if
I want to fucking run at him with like a carpet staple gun and just right in the forehead.
Here's a question for you. How often does someone knock at your door?
Not often.
Right? Doesn't it seem like when we were kids, people knocked on the door quite a bit more?
Banging on the door.
Yeah. I mean, we had friends coming over, knocking on the door, even if it was a door-to-door salesman selling vacuum cleaners or some shit like that. But it seems like no one knocks on my door.
Thank you, Internet.
I guess that's there we go. There's a plus.
Yeah, you don't have door-to-door sales as much.
Yeah.
Because it's all Internet and your friends.
Oh, we did have the Labor Day Saint. Did you have them? We had the Mormons came by a couple nights ago.
CA told me. I have this. They're not going to convince me, and they can see it.
Did you let them do their spiel?
Well, no, they painted my living room.
What?
But they
fucking lied.
Yeah.
They painted your living room.
They'll do anything you ask them to.
Yeah, Costanza.
Yeah, they'll be the nicest people too. It's like, oh, thank you so much for letting me paint your living room.
Do you remember years
upstairs
ago when they were
bathroom is
walking
backed
by
up,
and we were outside drinking on the street? Well, on the sidewalk, and they walked by, and we bullshitted with them people.
Yeah,
and they didn't try to convince us, but
they knew we were already gone.
Yeah, we don't even want you in our church.
Yeah, we would try to talk you into accepting the Lord and Savior into your heart, but it appears that you are Satan's spawn.
Yeah,
so
that's not the Lord and Savior. If I have to dress like that, if I have to dress like fucking, what's that?
It's falling down again.
So it's not falling down. It's what's that Doozle or whatever his name is.
I know you're talking about the
comic
Dilbert.
Dilbert. If I gotta dress like Dilbert, fuck you.
Yeah. I will say this: every Mormon that I know, and I know quite a few through business, and they're the nicest people in the world. They really are. I've never met one that was an unpleasant individual.
When you got 8 wives and you don't take care of your kids, what's the fucking difference?
Yeah. Now, but Utah is a fucked up place, though. I've been.
Yeah, it is.
I've been. I mean, it's beautiful. It's a gorgeous piece of land, but you can't buy a fucking 12-pack of beer. You got to go to state-run liquor store, and even then, I think it's $3.2. Yeah. And then if you go to a bar, well, number one, the bars close at like 10:30.
It's not worth being there. That right there. I don't want to. I don't want.
Well, unless you want to ski.
I don't want anything.
Then you go to Colorado. You can get weed, beer, all you want there.
I don't want anything. You Utahnians.
But the Book of Mormon musical was hilarious.
It was good. We saw that together.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. It was good.
Hold hands.
Yeah, we did. We did. Yeah. The Book of Mormon is what's his name? Beavis and Butthead fame, isn't it?
Mike Judge? South Park.
That's South Park.
Oh, you're right. It is South Park.
Yeah, that's Trey Wing.
Trey Stone. Trey Parker. Matt Stone.
Trey Wingo.
Trey Wingo. Close.
It's okay. There's only so many trays out there.
Yeah.
So,
But no, and even the LDS Church, the Mormons, they even appreciated the Book of Mormon.
Oh,
and
yeah?
said, it's all in good fun.
Sure.
They were even happy. It's like, it's all right. It's
Shine
all
a
good.
light, sign up.
Yeah, I mean, they're just nice people. So I don't, who knows what the hell they believe in, but I don't know.
Fuck
yeah.
them.
But Mormons, good stuff. Yeah, they came by the house the other day, and I don't know
What'd
what
they
we
say. Did they knock on the door?
They knocked on the door, and my wife opened it, and I don't know. I think I was cooking dinner, and she's like, "Oh, we're getting ready to eat dinner. Tonight's not a good night." And they're like, "Oh, okay, thank you,
No
ma'am."
night's a good night.
Well, right, yeah. It's like, well, what if I wasn't cooking dinner? Would you have said, "Come on in, we're getting ready to watch"?
She'd have made something up. She's a
We're
smart
getting ready to
girl.
watch Tupac and Biggie.
Right.
Yeah, have a seat. If you want to do some laundry, while you're
so did they come back?
no,
Oh,
not
man.
yet.
No, they
Just sharing the
I think
gospel?
the whole
Come on.
everything at my house just doesn't look appealing to come and see me. With the dog barked a lot at them as just walking by, and if they seen me get out of the truck, I just look angry. That's a menacing man. I don't want to even knock on their door.
Yeah.
Your
The
house
only-
looks inviting, though. Like, you got a nice looking house.
Well, sure. I mean, there's upkeep. But
Nobody would know
The only
that-
the only bright spot would be
Yeah.
if she came home. She's happy. She's always
Right.
She
They have
walking
no
the door.
way to know that there's a man in a chicken suit ready to tie them to a.
I want to duct
Lawn
tape you
chair.
or something, and I would tell him, you don't want to be here. You don't want you
Hey,
want to leave
I'll-
more so than I don't want to tell you what's going to happen to you.
I'm going to say this on the air, and I'll take it out if you tell me to, but we brag about Ryan's oldest boy, as rightfully so, but you had some wonderful news to share with us today about your daughter in
Yes,
college.
I did. I'll say it don't matter. By
Yeah.
the time she got a full ride to a university
Here in St. Louis.
here in St. Louis,
A good university.
a good
Private school.
private school.
Nice.
I'm really
my
excited
alma
for.
mater, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, you got your
I got my
master's
master's
there.
from.
Yeah,
Okay,
he got
that's
his
right. I
master's
knew
from
that.
there.
So we're very proud of her. That's
I'm very
awesome.
proud of her. Yeah, she just got an accolade the top dog. She got top
yeah,
dog,
yeah.
which I
My
seen.
nephew was there too.
I seen
yeah.
him. Yeah, and
Top dog pisses off my son
yeah.
more than anything in the world. He goes,
What do you got to do?
well, yeah. He goes, what do I gotta do? It's exactly at the kitchen table. He's like, I'm funny. I make the teachers laugh. I make everybody happy. I do my work. I do things they ask, and I can't get a top dog to save my life. I don't know what I gotta do.
Hey,
So here's
you gotta wait till fucking senior year.
So my nephew, he's in that program where he goes to the community college
yeah.
every day for his
Yeah.
classes. So he's only at the high school in the
Like half the day,
before.
right?
No, not even that. He only goes
You're
before
never
school
there.
even starts. Well, he goes for the weightlifting program
Yeah.
in the morning, which is before school.
Right.
So he goes at the crack of dawn,
Yeah.
lifts weights, and leaves. Like, he's not there ever for
Ever.
school.
And then he
And
can't
somehow-
even be back at school until like
Yeah, like,
2:40
Yeah.
or something.
And he got a top dog.
and you have to be nominated
Uh.
by a teacher or administrator. So somehow he gets nominated by some teacher, and he's never even in the school.
See, and that's exactly what I told my boy. My oldest boy never ever got a top dog,
Yeah.
and not to brag on him too much, but he was a pretty damn good student. He never got in any trouble. He got good grades. He got a full ride to Tulane University. He's a good kid, but never. I mean, just under the radar the whole way, just kind of just cruising stealth mode, And so I had to tell Chuck, I'm like, don't sweat that shit, man.
Yeah.
None of that matters. It makes you feel good now, and it's great to be recognized. And certainly, if it happens, great. But if it doesn't, don't sweat it, because
she has another one in April for Illinois scholars. She's an Illinois scholar.
Yeah.
and
Nice.
that's at Turner Hall in Columbia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
Well,
have to deal with that.
and that's the stuff that matters.
They have food there, maybe booze.
the NHS stuff, the scholars, and those are the things that matter. Those are resume worthy things.
Sure.
Top dog.
That's just.
I mean,
school.
you
That's
could put
just
it
high
on there,
school.
but any college is going to be like, I don't know what the fuck
Whatever
that is.
that is, yeah.
They don't. They
It
don't
doesn't
care
hold
about that.
merit. It
Right.
doesn't hold merit.
But it means something to them in the moment, and that's great. And it means something to the teachers because they're nominating students that they deem worthy. And that's all good, but I just don't. It's like you can't sweat that kind of stuff. It's popularity crap. And
yeah, I mean, kind of. It's not like your daughter or my nephew is like kissing teachers' asses or anything.
No, but they're she's not, but he is. He's an athlete. He's a star. He's well regarded because of what he brings to the athletic programs of.
But he's also a straight A student,
and he's a great student. Going to and he's doing this program. Yeah, sure. So
he works hard.
So he's all those things, right?
Yeah.
So,
but that being said, he has over the years historically gotten a lot of those types of awards, like the one solo recognition type awards, and some of it is, I think, his popularity at the school, and he's a great kid and accomplished in all kinds of things, but he's that kind of kid that gets that kind of recognition.
Right, stand out.
So yeah, it started with my oldest boy.
So fuck your son is what I'm saying.
In junior high, I was up there for something, a chorus concert or something, and they got all the plaques on the wall, and it was over, and I was waiting for him to get done or whatever, and I'm looking at all these plaques, and I'm like. And I know all these kids' names on the most recent one for that year. I'm like, I know all these kids the past couple years. I'm like, what the fuck? That kid's an asshole. That guy stole shit out of my garage. I know what these kids are up to, but yet they're up there as getting these independent awards, and yet my kid's not. So I asked him, I was like, hey, what do you got to do to get that? And he goes, I have no idea.
I ain't climbing under no desk.
And he didn't really care at all. He's like, yeah, I'm not worried about that. He goes, yeah, it didn't matter. And it was an eye opener for me. I was like, it doesn't matter because a lot of the names that are on that board,
none of it matters.
Well, right. I mean, it doesn't. But all the names.
Well, yeah, 20 years from now, it doesn't mean it don't account to a hill of beans. But for them now,
yeah, in the moment, it's absolutely a big deal.
Certain things matter, like doing all the little things that get you a full ride scholarship to whatever university. That matters
absolutely. Yeah,
but 20 years from now, even that full ride won't matter.
Well, it doesn't matter what you do with it.
But it matters what you do with it, because if that springboards you into what you put in to get that, if you keep it, that's what I told my daughter. I said, you can't take your foot off the gas now. You all it is now you're just shifting gears, sweetheart. It's a whole nother ride. It's a whole nother thing. Don't stop, because, and then when this is done, if you want to go get, if you want to get your graduate, same thing. Yep. And when that's done, it's fucking workforce, and you've got to, and that shit, because I can tell her in spades what workforce is all about.
Well, the other thing is that if
I don't know school, but I know workforce.
Well, what I can tell her and what your wife can tell her, and a lot of people can, is that as hard as it may seem, college and especially going to a good university where the classes are going to be hard, and there's a lot of smart people that you're surrounding yourself with, and it's going to be challenging, and it's hard. It's still, you're going to look back on it when you're 30 and be like, God, I wish I could go back and do that shit some more. Right, and you're going to look back at high school and be like, fuck, that was a cakewalk. Right. But in the moment, now, they're like, oh, I hate this. This is horrible. It's like, you got a 6-hour day.
You have nothing to reference it to.
It's the hardest thing they've ever done.
Well, right. Well, it's true.
To that point, yeah.
Looking
so it's
back,
all about
it's the easiest thing we ever did.
Right, yeah. It's like you wish you could do it all over again. You wish you Van Wilder that shit. I'd do it for fucking 12 years, I would
like to do it I wish I would have been more scholarly and got to do things like that. But my mentality, I even if I would have been enough to go to, a state school and, like go to Mizzou, I would have fucked that up too. Mm-hmm. I just, honestly, I'm a fucking cog in a wheel, and I'm happy to be that. Well, and that's, you put me in, and now I shine at that cog.
Where you were raised in a different type of...
You're doing something people can't do for themselves.
Right.
And they treasure when what somebody can do for them what you do.
You pretty much keep a missile down and
well,
and Ryan's making sure the fucking bankings don't go down the drain again.
So Jared just sits with his hand on a key, waiting to turn it. If he turns that key, the little thing flips open and the switch can be pushed.
There's another guy with his hand on the key. I slap the hand. That's what I do.
You don't even have a key.
Stop it.
You just slap the hand on the hand.
It's whack-a-mole. That's all it's keeping it in the ground, boys. It's one shitty game of whack-a-mole.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean,
Jared takes a nap. We're at DEF CON 1. What the fuck happened?
But I get it, day to day and hour to hour. Yeah, some of the shit that I do it's like, yeah, that's people can't do that or people don't do it. That's why they bring it to.
I can tell you, and you know this, but I told you recently my daughter's car got hit and had body damage and whatever, and we took it to a local body shop, and they do
good local body shop.
Yeah, and they do great work.
They
and
do great
I've
work.
had my car taken there, and it's such an awesome feeling when you see your car looks like it was never touched.
Happened.
It's just brand new. And people appreciate that.
Well, there's a website out there that says, I don't know what it's called. It's like, can I be replaced by a robot is the gist of it. I forget the name of the website. It's something along those lines. Google that shit. You'll find it, I'm sure. And basically you could type in any job and it'll tell you the odds of being replaced by a robot or by AI, etc. And I'm telling you, it'd be difficult to replace what Joe does. It'd be difficult to replace any job that requires, really fine motor skills. I mean, maybe someday that may happen, and it's artistic. Like what you do to a body panel or whatever, it takes art. That's not science. Well, it's unorthodox. It's like every single thing. So robots and AI are used to dealing with the same set of circumstances every time. It's like, okay, I'm presented with this problem
all the time.
Right. I can solve this problem with this solution. When you're brought a wrecked car that is there's snowflakes. Every single one of them is different. He has to evaluate every single one independently and come up with a solution to straighten that car or total it in some cases, right?
I wish I could have totaled the one I've been working on. It's so fucked up. I've showed you pictures. You've seen pictures. Did I send you pictures?
Not of this one.
The frame was all bent and everything. And
there's no frame. There's not. I got it. I'll show you guys. There's nothing. So the right rear section of this car that I'm working on is gone. So think of it like when I finally cut all the bad out of it, there's no back seat.
You're left with like half a car.
There's nothing. There's nothing.
How is it a new model expensive? How is it not totaled?
I'm not going to get in the air on because it's a St. Louis County car, and I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah.
So
but if it was my car, it probably would have been totaled.
It'd have been done.
Yeah.
And a normal person car, but because of
tax dollars are paying for it.
So cheaper to keep her type thing.
We'll have to talk about that whenever we're done here because I want to know more. But
so there's nothing. There's absolutely fucking nothing. There's nothing. If you were a right rear passenger, you'd fall on the floor.
Yeah.
And today I didn't take any pictures of it, but I'm ready to weld the outer stuff. I mean, I got a door and a deck lid closing and everything's perfect, and I even brought the boss over. I was like, check it out, tell me what you think.
See, that's where you're wired for that kind of shit. I don't know who I was talking. We were talking about you, and about working on cars, and I think I was talking to Chuck about how to approach things. Like you taught me this, and I mean it's common sense stuff, but you don't think about it very often. You got to chop things up into little projects, right? If you chop things up and like, all right, I got to accomplish this. Once I accomplish that, then I'll work on that. And if you keep plugging away and you just chop up your monolithic problem into these little bitty pieces and you just chew away at them, you just fucking nip at them, then before you know it, you're all done. Good. And then you look at it and you're like, well, fuck, look at that. Look what I just did. And
make a big problem a small problem.
Right. And he did that when he was working on my car, my Pontiac, and he's like, I'm not worried about anything over there. I'm worried about this quarter panel today, and we're going to get this quarter panel done. And then we'll worry about that door, and then we'll worry about that fender, and then we'll just keep moving through things. But that's an analogy for life, right?
Anything, you can always use that. Fix small things. Do it as best you can. Focus. Get into it. Do a great job with that one thing, and then when you pull away from that, you're 10,000 feet, 50,000 feet. Kind of look at things, and then you move to the next one.
And it's probably going to make that next one easier if you kill that first thing and you do a great job and you only focus on that. Then the next thing's probably going to be easier. Maybe not always in cars, but in general. You just take care of little problems, but. No, I think. Well, going back to the can I be replaced by a robot? I mean, we look at bank tellers. We look at there's a lot
elevator operators.
There's a lot of things.
I wanted to be an elevator operator so bad. That looked like a great job. Nice clothes.
Yeah. You get to wear
dirty.
Get the cool hat.
Everything, and you get to just chit chat with people. Fuck you. You do that job half drunk.
They still have those at Busch Stadium. You know that, right?
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Not in every elevator, but if you're going to like the club seats or whatever, you walk in. You don't got to push that button yourself. They got someone's going to push that button for you.
Tip them?
Fuck no.
Cheap motherfucker.
But you could.
What? Yeah, I guess you could. But why? Dude, come on. I don't know how much.
Are
you're
you
making.
kidding me? That's his fucking. If he's making minimum wage, he's stealing money.
Right. And they get a stool. I want a stool when I get in the elevator.
I bet he gets a fucking ring too.
Yeah, you're
probably
does.
Right. Probably does get a ring.
Nice.
Yeah, but it's a good lesson to anybody out there, young people, old people, to analyze like where do I stand in this thing? How much do I have to worry about? Because
I agree with you on
technology is nipping at your fucking heels, and if you're going to choose a job, if you're like, oh, I want to be a grocery checker, it's like, well, you might want to rethink that one, pal.
I guess you're right. I think about it, but you're right. If you want to imprint laser discs, it's probably not a great thing to go into right now.
Yeah. Or if you want to build cars. I mean, look, everything's going to robots building cars. There's very few humans.
If you want to build cars, you're going to have to become a specialist, and you're going to have to end up opening like a Kindig or
you're building Ferraris or something like that.
You're building one-off custom cars, and for that.
But 25 years ago, there was I've told this on the podcast. There was a guy
to be a lot better than me
with a dead blow hammer putting steps on a step side Chevy pickup truck, and he only did one side. But there was another guy that did the other side of the truck.
Yeah.
And it's like
he was putting the fucking the
rubber step,
little rubber pad,
the corrugated step onto that. Yeah,
he set it down. That was his job.
Yeah,
and he got paid scale. He got paid. Yeah, and he probably had a good run at it. Maybe still in the UAW.
Well,
and nothing against those guys, but
they still need people to run that shit, but it's on a such smaller scale than it used to be.
Right. Well, and then you get the cost of cars keep going up and up and up, and people want to sell cars, so you got to bring the cost down. You got to increase the margins, right? So what are you going to do? You're going to get rid of the guy that's with a dead blow hammer. And you're going to say, or you're going to redesign the car, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to have that kind of shit. So you can have robots spot welding everything and just throwing a car together. But
we have a young guy at work, and he's seems like a fucking super nice guy. Honestly feels like he's got the world by his balls, and I look at him, I think, God, I remember those days. And I'm sure you probably have come across that in your working career, and you just look at him and you're like, there's so much I want to tell you, little rabbit, but you just gotta learn it on your own.
Yeah.
And
so usually,
but I look at him with a lot of optimism, because he's so wide-eyed like I was when I was that age, and I thought, you're fucked.
Yeah. Usually, I mean, I was this guy too, but usually in my job, we get a lot of just out of college, and they show up and this is their first job, and they think that they got the tiger by the tail. They got it all figured out.
They don't even have no idea.
You telling me that the dean of students or the chancellor of my college just told me that I was ready to take on the world.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean I can't do this? It's like, well, yeah, man. You got to learn a little bit more.
To the world.
Yeah, you got to work. You got to put in some more time, and they can't do it. I was that same guy in 1997 or whatever it was. I was the same. I thought, well, shit, it's all just going to come to me now. This is all going to happen. It's like, nope. I spent a couple of years in that mailroom, and and it took a little bit longer to, than I expected it to. And that's anything. It doesn't matter if you go to college or not. I mean, when you're a young kid, you think you got everything figured out,
I remember I would drive to work when I was at that, and I would listen to like inspirational music. Like I was at that time I was probably a year in or 2 years in, and that lose yourself shit.
Yeah.
This may be the only opportunity. I was thinking, man, just give me the opportunity. Let me fucking progress. I want to progress. I want to get there. And I would fucking hype myself up every day, all the time, when I was, and I just don't know if that's out there anymore.
No.
I knew that I had to prove myself before I got paid.
Well, I think there are exceptions out there, but I think that by and large, most people today are
exceptions.
Are waiting for like, well, I put my time in here and here and here. Show me the goods.
I'm gonna be the next Instagram star.
Right,
yeah,
but your time isn't. If your time wasn't productive, if you didn't take nothing from it, then what good is it? That was just time. That was you. You could have been washing dishes and gotten the same thing out of it.
So there was another news story today about, when we talked about this a little bit, was this the for-profit schools, was a Rankin or whatever that shut down here in St. Louis, and all these. This was a while.
That was Vatterott.
Vatterott. So that was a few months ago, right? Or maybe
it's been a bit. It's been a minute,
5 or 6 minutes or whatever. So maybe months. But
I like that, 5 or 6 minutes.
So that was a big deal. It was a big news story in St. Louis because a lot of people were going to school there, and they had paid for an education,
basically prepaid. Because
and it's a for-profit school, and they got loans. Some of these they got loans. So
a lot of them got loans,
right? So the allegedly the Trump administration and Betsy DeVos, have they changed the regulations around this to basically allow for these for-profit institutions to have a little bit more free reign. They took some of the regulations off them. So now another one. I can't remember the name of the institution, but they were allowed to be sold to a Pentecostal church or something like that, like a year ago. And within a year, now they're shutting down all these campuses all around the country. And there's all these students that were going to these for-profit universities, and they're out on their heels now. And the worst part is that the credits that they earned at these universities, I'm using air quotes, universities, they're not transferable because they're not accredited universities. They're for profit. They're, it's
well, I know that
a truck driving school basically in some cases.
I know that Wyotech, which is was a huge automotive mechanical collision custom, and they had multiple. They of course started in Wyoming, and then they had huge other campuses and everything. They went by the way of that. I don't know if it was Pentecostal churches shutting them down, but
no, this was an exception of it.
I don't know what it was, but
the argument is that the people think that the government should not have allowed this church or this organization that's kind of run by this church to buy these schools.
See, maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
First thought, I could be wrong. Most likely I am. Kind of a last ditch effort, save the day type. Maybe their private money.
Well, they were having problems.
Kept them up for another year or so. So maybe you got somebody. But a lot of these I see a lot of these trade schools are just going bye because no one's going.
But no
do you
one's
teach
going.
Video games,
right?
Or
no one's going, and those people that do go, there's just good products that come out of there, I'm sure, but in a lot of cases, they're not teaching good things, and they're just they're paper mills. They're like, hey, you know what? You give us enough money, we're going to give you a certificate that you're going to be able to go to the next employer and say, hey, I got the certificate. And some employers are going to be like, oh, great, you're hired. And then, but you still got to prove yourself.
Yeah.
But the money that they're putting into it they're not reaping the rewards. It's not equivalent, right?
Well, I can tell you that, not to interrupt you, I can tell you, having gone to trade school, when I went to class, first day the instructor said, there's roughly 30 of you here. Halfway through the year, 15 of you be gone. About 5 of you will actually graduate, and 1 of you will be doing this in 5 years.
Right.
Are you the one?
Right. Well, and that's a testament to, but number one, I don't know what trade school you went to. We don't need to get into that, but what you were going to do. Now these schools, and we're making an equivalency between trade school and a for-profit university. These for-profit universities are giving degrees in God knows what, psychology and shit like that.
Yeah, they shouldn't be.
No, and they're taking advantage of these students.
Of money.
Yeah, and they're just like, oh, you know what? Yeah, you pay us enough money. Yeah, you can come and we got an office building off the outer road over here, and we'll let you sit there for 3 hours, and we'll stand up.
Is raking leaves.
Yeah, and but what they're gonna get at the end of the day, maybe they can make something out of it, but chances are it's not going to matter much for the next job that they apply for.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. So those kids are going to, 30 kids are going to go to school, 15 are going to be there, one's going to make it, and 5 years down the road, there's only going to be one that's probably still working in the industry that was.
Yeah, but I think that if you're talking about a Rankin or a Vatterott or something like that, where you're teaching welding or you're teaching how to be an electrician, I mean, those guys got a hell of a lot better chance than someone going to a for-profit university learning how to do
totally agree.
Native American dance theory or something like that.
Well, I agree with you on that. But what chases a lot of those kids away are young students or people trying to get into it, because I shouldn't say kids, because there could be 35-year-old men
One of the people in
doing
the story was a 50-year-old guy that quit his job making six figures and was going to go back to school and get a degree in whatever, and now he was a semester away from graduating, and he's got nothing. I'm like, why is this dude quitting a six-figure job? I mean, what the? There's something's amiss there, you know?
But fucking hippy dippies, man. That's it. Hey, man, fucking Birkenstock said I need to go.
I think he was probably bored with his life, you know?
Right, yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. He thought this is the only way I'm going to get a black stripper to love me. So he did it.
Yeah.
But I don't even know.
I'm sorry. I interrupted you.
I'm fucking drinking. And
I got a coworker of mine who's a pilot and works in the aero, industry or field now. But he wanted to go back and get his helicopter license.
We should do that.
Yeah.
Collectively. Now all three of us are one ticket.
It was 2 years at a helicopter school, and
Airwolf.
It was like Silver Star or Silver Tech. I forget the name of the school, but they were a known helicopter school. But they also had, like, if you looked at their reviews and stuff, they kind of had some shady reviews where, they didn't promise that you would get enough flight time by the end of your 2 years to graduate and all this stuff. But he did it anyway. We all kind of tried to talk him out of it. It was really expensive. I
can't tell you how much it's going to fucking rain.
Right. I think it was something like $50,000 a year. I mean, it was something crazy expensive to go to the school. And he was like a year and a half in, and the school went out of business. And they locked their doors. And it was like you were saying, those credits don't transfer to another helicopter school because they're like, well, we don't care what you did. You didn't pay us to do that. So
I mean, his hours still count. If he goes to another school, he can
whatever
say, well, I got 12 hours in the
anti-test out.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, he basically
GED
was
pilot license.
And he was taking out loans for that money. So even though he didn't necessarily have to pay the school because they went out of business, he had to pay back all that money.
Well,
and he got
somebody
nothing,
let it out.
Nothing to show for it.
Well, this thing I was talking about was a New York Times story, and they were and one of the elements of it was they were talking about the government guaranteeing these loans for these students that are going to these schools, and now the government is kind of on the hook for these things, right? So the government's paying for them, which means that
we're on the hook.
That means that we're paying for it, and so is it right or wrong is the question for the government, whether it's Trump or Betsy DeVos or if it's Obama or whoever his education secretary was, saying that, we probably need to stop this.
Well, and I
think
need
to nip this in the bud because it's not making a lot of sense.
Should I assume that a lot of these online educators are that way?
You mean like the web schools and stuff like that, like a University of Phoenix kind of thing?
Them, or I hear now, I think a lot of major universities like Purdue and Memphis.
Oh yeah, they can do online schools, online classes.
And now even here in Missouri with the WGU,
Western Governors University, So
which is affiliated with the state schools here in Missouri, or not here, but in Missouri.
Well, so Mizzou, University of Missouri, St. Louis, Kansas City, Raleigh is not, it's whatever it's called now, S&T, Webster, WashU.
Webster's a private.
Well, but all of these universities offer online courses.
Right.
What I learned.
But are they sanctioned? Like,
yes.
Are they?
Yes.
So they're not the same as
going to a for-profit paper mill school, and not all of them are just paper mills. There's probably some good ones out there. I can't name one, but there's probably some good ones out there. But I will say that like online classes When I was going through my MBA, there was a couple classes where some people decided not to take the classroom version, and they wanted to be able to manage their time a little bit better, so they took the online version.
I know a kid at work who's finishing up at UMSL.
Yeah,
and he takes 2 classes
online. So what I heard is
it just works better with his schedule,
but they're harder because at least where I went for my
because you don't have that.
No,
interaction.
They expect more work out of you is what I'm saying. They're harder. There's more work that you have to put in. So there's more papers you got to write. There's more homework you have to do. There's more reading that's required. And they need you to, they require you to show effort a heck of a lot more than a classroom taught, where showing up is half the battle.
So it's easier to drive there.
Yeah.
Fuck sticks.
Well, in some cases, I mean, I can't say universally, but that's the difference, is like,
because he has like set times that he has to be at his computer for these classes.
Yeah, sure. And then like you have your University of Phoenix, and I hate to keep using them. I don't know if it's good or bad, but
I had a basketball scholarship through them.
Yeah. Everything's online. I mean, not everything, but most of the stuff that they do is online. They got a fucking football stadium. I mean, they're obviously making a lot of money. I mean, they're doing pretty well for themselves. So there's something to be said for it, but a lot of the review on these things is that it's an online class you're taking. The bar is you could trip over it. I mean, it's not, the bar's not very high. And education is, you get out of it what you put into it. You've heard that since you were fucking a kindergartner, probably. But it applies all the way through at every level of education, even if it's a for-profit or whatever. So someone could go to University of Phoenix and get a great education, but you could also go there and just kind of waltz through and skate through and get your piece of paper and be done.
There's C doctors out there.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So if people want to take a class in the art of podcasting, how can they get a hold of us to find out the magic behind the scenes?
Do you know when I went to Drake for their...
They did not have a podcasting class.
Yes, they did. And so we got to...
We're going to be professors.
So we went and
Dr.
sat.
Ryan.
So we all went, and you went around all these different things. And one was like a drone class and podcast.
Yeah, I've heard of that too.
And a podcasting class. And so we went in and sat down, and my daughter's like, "Are you going to say that you do a podcast?" I go, "I'm not saying a word. I'm not saying a fucking word to these people." And it was a guy and a girl, and they sat there, and they just
what we're doing,
sitting here, bullshitting. They're talking like
wiener.
They did not say wiener, not one. And they were very droll. They were very droll. They were very just remedial. They had someone come up and sit down, and sit in, and they talked. They're like, "It's okay, just get in."
They probably got 10,000 downloads.
Yeah.
So then they start talking about their best show or whatever, their best cast, and it was
all about wieners.
Well, Drake is renowned for this race, this Drake race or whatever. And you can look it up. It's like a relay race or something.
I thought you were going to say Aryan.
Thank God. No. Like a physical running race. All right. And it's once a year, and the whole fucking town loses their mind over it. And they podcasted on like we did Stubborn German. And they did really well. Their numbers aren't near what ours are. And they were.
Yeah. It's hard. It's a high bar.
That's cool.
And but I was just sitting there listening to them, and oh my God. The whole time, my daughter's just staring at me. Please, just please say something to these people, please. And no. But I mean, it was set up just like we're set up. I mean, awesome. It was literally just like this. They were at a table.
So one more thing, I little known fact. I may have told you guys this, but I went to. It was in my mid-20s, and I was in the world. I had a job.
You went to Robert Kraft's massage parlor.
I didn't. I'm going next week though.
Me too.
You're not working.
I am. It's my turn in the barrel.
Ask for Blaine.
Yeah. So I went to the Broadcast Center, which is a school. I don't know if it's still around here in St.
I don't
Louis.
think it's around anymore.
But it's another for-profit deal. And what they guaranteed, air quotes, that they're going to teach you how to be a broadcaster. They're going to find you a job in the radio industry, and they're going to see you through all this. And it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. And all for the low price. I think it was like $13,000.
Right.
That was all in. So it was like this whole
Which
education.
at the time was a lot more than it is now.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is
no math, all radio.
I mean, this is like 99, 2000 ish or
that
whatever.
That was about the end of the broadcast school era, though.
Well, yeah, and it was, and guys, I think people were getting smart. Like, wait a minute. So a lot of the people that they placed were on a 2-watt station in Paducah, Kentucky, at midnight. And it's like, what the fuck?
Got a job, right, motherfucker?
We got you a job. They're paying you a nickel a day, but you get a live chicken every week, though. It's all good. Right. You're gonna love it
with a leash.
Yeah. And so I went to it, and they made you go through some motions. You had to sit in front of a camera and do like at a news desk, and I had to sell a fire extinguisher, and they had and they evaluated you on how well you spoke and how well you were off the cuff and that kind of thing. I didn't give a shit about being on TV. I got a face for radio, so they sit me in a studio and they're like, read this copy. So I read news, about 5 minutes of news, and then they said we'll give you a call in a week. So a week later, they called me. Hey, we need you to come by again. They said, well, we think you did a great job. You got a great voice. You're really, really good job. And you got to work on some things, but we can help you. We can help you. So we're going to go ahead and accept you into our program.
You
are. You're going to accept
awesome?
my $12,000, $13,000, whatever the fuck it is, dollars.
Isn't it great that Jarod didn't do that to us?
Yeah.
Why don't you come on by again?
Yeah.
And, we'll talk.
Maybe read a little bit more. The thing is that it was a microphone plugged into a fucking cassette deck. Like fucking, like an old 1980.
Yeah.
I'm like, seriously, this is the best quality? You're not going to really get the depth of my voice.
I honestly think this is how they recorded Ted Bundy.
It's exactly that exact same type of tape recorder. I was like, this is crazy. But yeah, so I didn't give them my money. But honest, my first professor, my original major for broadcast communications, the professor for broadcast communications 101, he made everybody raise their hand, like, who wants to be on the radio or television? And everybody's hand goes up in the air. And he's like, all right, I hate to break it to you, most of you are never going to be on the radio or on television. If those of you that are going to be on that 2-watt station in Paducah, Kentucky at midnight, and then maybe there's that one outlier that may nip at Howard Stern's heels, but that's a really long shot. Right. That's the Mickey Mantle of radio, right? Yeah. And the next class, half the class was gone. The next class after that, another half was gone, and I was gone. The second class after that, I was like, I changed my major to finance, and so I mean, he's a dream killer, but smart because it's hard.
Well, he kept it real.
Yeah, and I appreciate
anyone to chase out the fakes, and then maybe the 3 people that he taught.
Yeah, who knows?
Got a lot of
maybe
information.
Maybe one was Mancow. I don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe one.
Yeah, I went to high school in Mancow.
Who knows? But anyway, if you want lessons on podcasting from seasoned professionals such as ourselves, you can drop us a line at Load This Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. Send us an email, loadthispodcast@gmail.com, and be sure to check us out on YouTube. Even though there's not video yet, there will be soon. We promise you. We know we've been saying it for a long time. It's going to happen.
You know when it does finally happen, you fucking assholes. When it finally comes out there and you fucking rats can finally see our faces and do it, then you have to watch like it's the news.
Yeah.
You have no other choice. You got to turn it on. You need turn it. Yeah. Like it's Little Orphan Annie in the 40s.
Yeah.
And if you don't,
we want kids on their bellies with their heels up in the air, kicking them excitedly.
Right,
oh my God, get a little misses on.
Oh my God, I can't wait to hear what Joe says about penises.
We want that.
I'll say this. If you fucking don't, and I'll know, and I'll fucking know, I'm coming to your house. I'm fucking creeping into your house. I'm coming at you, and you think Russ Salzberg, or whatever his fucking name, had a bad day?
Jesus.
Yeah. I'm coming at you I'm like 40 times harder than that. And I'll do this shit like Santa Claus. I'll fucking go around the globe.
Yeah. Well, there's one way to get listeners.
Yeah.
So fuck you and fuck your fucking mothers. Wait, I love you guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Disregard most of what I said.
Be sure to check out our Amazon wish list and send us stuff.
Right. Follow us on Instagram. As usual,
Fuck
the
the
Cubs.
Cubs. Yeah.
Until next time, I'm Jared.
I'm Ryan. And I've got a heart on.
Get a load of this.